Hello and welcome to another episode of Truly Bedrock with me, Mr. Beardstone, and we're standing in our newly named village of Sannerly. So that's the name we've decided to go with now. We've just come off of the Truly Bedrock stream weekend where we had a discussion in chat. We had lots and lots of terrible name suggestions and a few good ones as well. And what we've done is we've decided to settle on Sannerly for the village here, but the wider peninsula. I still can't remember what that first name was, and yeah, we're not going to go with that, so we're still looking for a name for the whole area. You may notice, looking over my shoulder, that we still don't have our fishing shack, and that is one of the first things we're going to be doing in this episode. We're going to just make sure that we get something built down there. As I say, it's not going to be anything too major, it's just going to be somewhere small for the fishermen to get a bit of shelter in bad weather. That's not to say we haven't been busy though building up our village. As I did say, we just got off the Truly Bedrock stream weekend, and during that we built this. A church with a steeple. And I really love how that's coming out. It's not 100% finished yet. I haven't actually had a chance to get back on since we ended stream last night, as it was a very late one for me. But during the stream, this is what we did. So we've got most of the church in. We've got, the roof, the tower, the steeple. However, we do still have a lot of work to do around the sort of landscape around it, because it's all a little bit bare at the moment, and it might even be worth trying to sneak in a couple of gravestones in that bit if we can, but it might be a bit tight. And the inside still, as usual, leaves a lot to be desired, so we're going to get this sorted out as well. I'm pleased with how the church has come out, and once we get the interior on that done, that is going to be another completed building in the area, which is lovely, although we do still need to also do the interior on this one here. So throughout the episode, I may well pop back here and show you any updates that I managed to get done on these. We've got a couple of streams coming up before this episode comes out, so I'm hoping to be able to just get a few bits done like that. But first things first, standard. First things first, we are going to get our fishing shack down here. So I'm going to run off, I'm going to grab some stuff and things, and then I will meet you guys back here in just a moment. Okay, so I think I have everything I need for this build, so I'm just going to crack on and get this done, I guess.
Shopping up and down the way. Well, I'll buy you anything, 'cause it's your special day. Yeah. It don't have to be the latest fashion. It don't have to be made of gold. I don't need no fancy handbag if I got your hand on. Money makes the world go round. Money can't buy the love we found. Money troubles go away. I got bills to pay, my baby. Bills to pay, my baby. I've got bills to pay. Woo!
And there we have it, our fairly basic fishing shack with a built-in smoker as well. So if we look in there, we can see there's some fish getting cooked up there. Beautiful. Which obviously meant we had to add a chimney as well. But it's a fairly straightforward build. There's nothing particularly fancy about it. It's got a bit of a janky roof. It's using the mushroom and jungle texture again. And there's even a door at the back here as well, so you can get straight out to the sort of boat jetty and so on. As you approach the entrance, there are a few frames showing a few bits and bobs. So, you know, we've just got rods and fish. We've got some ice with some fish on it as well. And this is the smoker in here. So we've just got all the fish on either side. I do like the way that comes together though. And we've also got a few chains hanging from the ceiling, as if tools would be hanging from them and so on. But I haven't quite figured out a way to do that. So for now, it's just chains. And then, of course, there's some storage for fish and rods and things like that. So with that out of the way, and with this village of Sanley becoming one step closer to completion, we've still got a few plots there, let's ignore those, it's time to discuss what it is we're going to be doing today. And that primarily involves this cliff face here. So I like the kind of shape of the cliff, but I think it could be a lot better. It's a little bit too slopey, I want to make it more of a sheer cliff. And as a result, I think we're just going to terraform this whole area. So I'm going to start by digging out a lot of the grass from the front. We'll expose all the rock underneath. And then we're probably going to end up literally carving off a massive chunk from the front of this. And then restructuring it to how we want it to be. Because I kind of like the location. I don't really want it too much further forward or back. Which means we're going to have to adjust what's here as opposed to building over it. So I've got my pickaxes ready. I guess it's time to start digging. Saw, we've been fairly busy and we have removed a lot of blocks from around this area, which gives us a much better canvas to work on when we actually start creating our cliff. So I was on a Twitch stream while we were sorting this out, and while we were doing the digging, we came up with a few ideas. The big one of those ideas was, of course, a waterfall, because, I mean, just look at that, it's screaming. I know it's very flat at the moment, don't worry, we will improve that, but I think we're going to have some kind of waterfall winding down from the mountains up here, so we'll have some form of river or something. I haven't quite worked it all out, but I think a waterfall going down here is just going to look really good, because we can pool it in this lake area, and then we can have a river going all the way down to the ocean over here. Despite all that digging, however, I don't think we're quite done yet, because over this side here, which is where our original mine entrance is, we do still need to basically carve that away as well. So I'm probably going to cut roughly across there and just sort of cut that front edge off so we can create more of a custom cave entrance and actually make it look really nice around here. And we also need to bear in mind that we do need a way to get up to the top there. So taking that front off is going to give me the space to be able to build in some kind of windy stair set as well that goes up the side of the cliff, and I think combined that's all going to turn out quite well. In between recording clips on here, I have actually had a look at the comments on the last video, and it turns out I've been a bit of an idiot when it comes to these trees. You see, what I did was I planted these saplings and I bone milled them and they're not growing, and I've even put one in a greenhouse and that's not growing, and it turns out that the reason for it, or at least one of the possible reasons for it, is, well, I was being a bit silly. I completely forgot to give my tree a name. Everyone knows that if a tree is not named, then obviously it's not going to grow. I mean, what's it got to grow for if it's not named? So here we have Barry the spruce tree, and I'm hoping that's going to work out much, much better. First things first, however, I think we just need to get digging. Now we've removed that area as well, we've got much more space here to work with, so we can actually create our mine entrance. So as you can see, the sort of main entrance is there, but then we've also got the shaft mine here, which goes up to the surface, but we'll come back to that another day. That is for a very specific reason. And what we need to do is make sure that all of this landscape here works. So I think the first thing I'm going to do is probably actually carve some of this back out, create a sort of semicircle here, and have it gradually going down to the mine entrance. And then we need to get lots and lots of support beams in to make it look more mineshaft-like. Once we've done that, I'm going to play around with the rocks, and we're just going to try and really focus on this area for now. We do, of course, have big plans for this area here as well. We're going to create some overhangs, we're going to have some very cool custom cliffs, we're going to have waterfalls, and it's going to be a bit more wild around this area. We're going to plonk a couple of houses down, and we're probably going to put a walkway of some sort that actually swoops around from here and that's how you'd get back up to the top, because I feel that's going to work a bit better than trying to squeeze something in further this way. So I don't really know how I'm going to get all this side of things working as yet. I don't know where the support beams are going to be, so I'm just going to start throwing down a bit of wood and see if I can frame something out, and I've got plenty of stone on me as well, so I can create a sort of rock shape here that actually ties in with whatever kind of frame I end up with down here, because obviously it is on a bit of a diagonal, which does make things a bit more difficult. So we've just got to work out exactly where we're going to put the frames. So I'm going to do that, and I'll bring you guys back here in just a moment. So what I've done so far is I've blocked out where the rough framework is going to go. We will extend this back further into the mine once we've done the rest of the outside, and I've also marked out, or at least started to mark out, roughly where I want the sort of cliff edge to go, because I want this bit here to create a bit of an overhang so that it will stick out to about here or so at the top, and I want to then swoop that in and bring it a bit straighter down on this side. So what I've done once again is I've marked out where I want roughly the cliff edge to be along the side here, and with a few fences in here it's going to create like a small storage area, or maybe we could even stick a roof in just to store all the extra mine carts and things like that. But then we've also got a nice storage yard up here, which I will swap out all the ground for. I'll probably lower it down by 1, maybe even 2 levels, and that's where we're just going to have piles and piles of ore and things like that ready for transport. So the next step for me from this stage would be to build up the mountainside. Now, because this bit here is going to overhang and then this bit here is not, I think it makes sense for me to make a start here. There might be 1 or 2 bits where it overhangs, but in general I want to bring it sort of back in line by this point. So I'm just going to start blocking out roughly where I want this to go, and once I've got this done, I will see you guys back here, and hopefully we'll have more of a mountain shape going on. And the trick here is just to bring it in every now and then, but at different heights as you go down. So we'll do that maybe, and then that, and so on and so on and so on. This is how we mountain. So now we've started getting that first bit in. I've left this bit a bit blank because I need to figure out how this is all going to tie into it. So we're going to make a start on the sticky outy bit that's going to overhang, and then that should hopefully lead us into a shape over there, which is going to be probably a bit of an overhang as well, but we'll see where the shape leads us. So we're starting to make some good progress on the cliff face here. I've started to get the overhang in. Obviously it's all still very blocky at the moment. We haven't used any slabs, stairs, texturing, foliage or anything like that. But I think I'm fairly happy with the shape. Obviously it's going to change a bit. I need to sort out some of these overhangs. They don't look quite right. And I've done absolutely nothing at the sort of bottom end of the cliffs as yet. I have started to over here, but once again, still looking a bit square and blocky. So I think the next thing I want to do is to start mixing in some textures. And the way I tend to do this is, although actually... can't really go putting in the textures until I've sorted out roughly where the wall's actually going to be down the bottom here as well, because this is going to define what bits I actually need to texture. It's pointless me texturing the whole wall if not all of it is going to be visible. So we're just going to add in a few blocks here and see how that looks. There we go, perfect, that's all it needed. Beautiful. Right, now we can start some texturing. So, the way I tend to do this is, same as always, I just pick 1 block to begin with. I start with that one, and once I've covered an area with those, I'll come back with something else. So, we're going to start out with cobble. I'm going to get cobble all over the place around here, and then, yeah, we're going to come back, we'll probably do a pass with the andesite, and then we'll do a pass with some other bits and bobs, and once we've got that all looking good, we will grab the stairs and slabs and go from there. hope you enjoyed that short time lapse there, and we are now complete, I think, at least for now. I feel like it's still missing something out the front here. There's a bit too much open space going on, so if you've got any ideas for what we can put there, please do let me know in the comments. But I'll give you a quick tour of what we've actually done here. So over to the side here, we have a small sort of hut for storing all the additional ores and things like that. And then we just have the main mine entrance, really. It's got quite a big overhang, we've got lots of leaves and dangly bits, and once the vines grow down a bit, I'll add some string in certain places, because, you know, we don't want them coming all the way down to the floor. And there's also a minecart that sort of picks up from what will be a big platform that goes up and down here. So this bit here is going to look a bit more full in future, but for now we're just going to leave it blank because I do have plans for what's going on the surface in regards to that. I've also done a couple of additional bits in here just by swapping out the posts that we did have for the new chains because they weren't available when we originally had that, and I've also sorted out the ceiling in here. I think that's just one more thing at the background there that's helping to pull the town of Sanley together, and once we get the rest of this cliff face done round that side and of course round the front here as well, I think that's going to look really good and provide a nice backdrop for the lower parts of the town, and is going to set us up for what we're doing on the top. I think we're going to leave this area for now. I've had enough of digging and terraforming for one day, and by that I mean 2 days. Yeah, it's taken a while. But we do have other things we need to do, such as sorting out the interior of the bookshop here. So I think the first thing I'm going to need to do is to get myself some bookshelves. We've now got loads and loads and loads of bookshelves, and we're good to make a start on decorating this shop. I've also got a little box of goodies behind me there as well, which has got some barrels and other bits and bobs and things that are going to make this place look lovely, lovely, lovely. Which is probably about time, really, considering it was the first building we actually put back in the village after we may or may not have blown up the original one. A short while later, and I think we're done on the interior here. We've still got a bit of work to do in the basement downstairs, but yeah, I haven't quite decided if we're actually going to put villagers in there with decent trades or not yet, because the ones I've put in there previously have there's been some incidents, let's put it that way, and I'm a bit unsure on whether I should put any more down there. But let's go and have a look at the top floor. And here it is. So what I've done is I've made it a very, very sort of pokey, cramped bookshop. You know, the kind of sort of backstreet bookshops that you get in small towns. And that's the kind of feel that I was going for. And I've just used a combination of looms, barrels, chests and bookshelves to actually sort of build the bookshelves themselves, and then I've just added in some flowers and some lights and stuff. It's fairly straightforward, but I think it really gives the feel of a small pokey bookshop. And there's also a mezzanine floor up here, which has just got a bit of extra storage for all the additional books the proprietors of this place are going to have. Downstairs does still need a bit of work, but we are making progress, and this is basically where we got to before we kind of ran out of stuff. And yeah, I really don't know what to do. I don't know whether we're going to put the librarians down there or not, or whether we're going to have them a bit more free roam. It's just all a bit dangerous right now. And sadly, that is all we have time for in today's episode. But if you have enjoyed it, please do leave a like, and if you're new here, please do consider subscribing as well. I suppose one last thing to do will be to go and check on Barry, but it doesn't look like he's grown at all, and no. Another whole episode, and still my spruce is not growing. Maybe Barry needs a slightly different name. Maybe that was the problem. Maybe his name wasn't quite hardcore enough. There we go, much better. Spruce Willis, and now hopefully he will grow. But for now, we shall wait.